Hey everybody, Whitney Labrie here, and today I thought we'd do something a little fun and revisit the pancake bed that I made back in August. So here's the AI generated photo that my mom sent me, knowing that I love both pancakes and bacon, and the minute I saw this I had to have a miniature version of this, so this is the photo that inspired it all. So here's the beginning stage. It is made from foam and foam putty. I carved it, painted it, and then added some real fabric that of course looks like bacon. I thought it was really fun. Now a lot of you also stated that you wanted to see some butter on the pancake, which I completely agree with you on that, and so that's what I'm going to do today. So I've grabbed my bed, and the other thing that I wanted to do is, because the platform and the headboard are both made out of cardboard, I wanted to go ahead and use a couple pieces of wood trim and trim it out just to give it a little cleaner look and kind of remove the idea that it's made out of cardboard. So once the trim and everything is all nicely in place, I'm going to simply take some polymer clay and make a little tiny pat of butter, and it's just basically rolling it out and squaring it up, and we're going to put it right on the edge of the bed, right about there. So I'll go ahead and bake that, and while that's baking I'm going to create the syrup. Now I'm going to use my UV resin, and I'm mixing two colors together. I bought a whole set of really cool colors for resin, so I'm going to add a color called coffee and then another color called golden, and it should give me the look of maple syrup, I hope. I did have to go back and forth on adding a little coffee, a little golden, a little coffee, a little gold, until it got exactly pretty much the way I wanted it to be. And now I'm just going to drizzle it over the front part of the bed, the front corner really, and really let it naturally drip down the sides the way that syrup would drip. Now underneath the bed, I've added a sheet of wax paper, obviously for easy cleanup and to catch any of the additional resin that falls, and then I'm just going to swipe that up and add it back onto the bed and let it continue to drip down. Then I'm going to add my little pat of butter and grab my UV light, and I'm going to go ahead and let that set. The other thing that was suggested to me that I love is adding some sort of kind of fun type of rug or something food related, and I thought an egg shaped rug would really be fun in this. We're thinking breakfast theme, so an egg would be perfect. And I happen to have a little bit of white felt still left over from something I'd made, and I've got this yellow sheet, so I'm just going to make this little egg shaped rug, and it looks pretty good in this skillet. Now I'm going to leave it as is, but I've considered maybe adding a little bit of a crispy edge, like more like a fried egg look with a little bit of brown. Sometimes I like to sit with things a little bit before I make some changes. Now for the dresser, I want it to be a big slab of butter. And so what I've done is I've just taken a piece of foam. This is a remnant piece of trash foam. I probably cut it out for something else. Maybe it was the center of a fireplace or something that I did a long time ago. So I'm going to take my foam putty and I'm going to give it a nice coat of the foam putty. When it's almost dry in the front, I'm using my toothpick and I'm going to draw out some drawer fronts. And what's really nice is because this is supposed to look like maybe a carved butter piece, I'm not really concerned about it being like these super straight lines because I really do want it to look like it's carved out of a piece of butter. Now with the foam putty, it's pretty forgiving. We can remold it even as it's starting to dry, or I can always, if I really mess up, I could wait for it to fully dry and then put more foam putty on top of it. So if you're using this product, you don't really need to worry about making mistakes. It's pretty forgiving. And then once that's all done, then I will let it fully dry. Now I'm using a color just called Sun Yellow for the butter. I felt like that would really work, but as I placed it onto the foam, I realized it was a little too yellow and I want it to have more of a lighter, creamy, buttery color. So I'm just adding a little white to that, and then I'm going to start painting that. And that was a much better look. Of course, I'll just set that aside to dry. You can see here it's just looking like really butter sticks sitting on top of one another is what it kind of looks like to me. For the hardware, I'm keeping it very simple. I'm using polymer clay and I'm making little round knobs for the front and then little buttery yellow feet for the base. I really want this to be monochromatic so that you get the idea that it's pancakes, an egg rug, and a butter dresser. Of course, here it is in the skillet, but I don't know if you should ever be using this much butter for any dish. No, I'm just kidding. There's definitely some desserts that require this much butter. And then here is everything all together. So my future plans for this are going to be, I want to do salt and pepper shaker nightstands. And then I also want to do a large armoire. And the armoire, I want it to look like a syrup container. So those are my plans for the future for this. But also I want to do a mirror above the butter dresser. What kind of mirror should I put? And then also for lamps, I have some ideas, but I'd love to hear your ideas for lamps. And what other accessories might you add to the top of the dresser? I'd really like to know. And then I also have an idea for the type of beings, I should say, that would live in a room like this. That'll come later, of course. So anyway, that's it for this week. It's a short one, you guys, I know. But I am working on the Goonies room and a couple other big projects right now. So I hope that you enjoyed this. Honestly, I think it's super cute. I don't know if we would have this in any regular dollhouse. I was thinking too, maybe like a little room box that looked like a cabinet where you would keep your, pancake mix and syrup and things like that, or something along those lines. But anyway, I'd love to hear your thoughts on that as well. So if you haven't already subscribed, go ahead and push your subscribe button, please, and give me a thumbs up. And of course, please feel free to comment. My Patreon is coming next week, so definitely look for that. And of course, I'm working on a million other projects in the background. So thank you so much for hanging out with me this week. Everybody have a great rest of your weekend, and I'll see you next time. Bye.